Welcome back, everyone, to MorningLine on this Thursday. We are talking about allergies. This is a doctor, Dr. John Overholt. He's with the Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Center, all linked together. You're an allergist. You're not an orthogonologist. How do you pronounce that?
Otolaryngologist.
Is that what you are, too?
No.
I'm glad, because that's just a tough
That's a mouthful.
word. That's a head, neck, and throat
ENT
doctor,
is a lot
right?
easier to say.
I like allergist. That's it. Well, thanks for coming in with us this morning. The number is 737-7587. Again, if you want to join in the conversation. Just talking about the allergies this year. And in the fall, like I said, it's nailed a lot of people. I wanted to hit you real quickly before we get back to the lines with two other kind of home remedies. And share yours with us if you'd like. We already talked about honey, apple cider vinegar. Some people swear by the neti pots. If you don't know what one of those are, go ahead and...
So a neti pot is a way of putting a large volume of saline basically through the nasal passages. And it helps rinse out irritants, allergens, the secretions that get stuck up in the nose, and that helps people breathe better, gives people more room to breathe through, opens up the airways a little bit. Some people love it. A neti pot uses gravity.
Well, you have to pour it through your nostril while you hold one, and then it comes around through the back of your nose, out your mouth, or out the other nose, rather.
Out the other nose. You sort of tilt your head sideways.
Yeah, I've done it. Actually, I've had it come through my throat, and that's no fun. You pour it in, it comes one in one nostril, out the other.
Yeah, you really shouldn't plug up the other side.
Yeah, don't plug it. Just let it out.
That's right. They also make a plastic squeeze bottle that does this sort of same effect.
Not the most comfortable thing for me. Do you use the neti pots out there? I don't know, but what do you think? So it can't really hurt.
Some of my patients love it. Swear by it. Think it's the greatest thing in the world, and it does a good job at helping control their secretions. It's free. It's devoid of, essentially devoid of side effects. So they love that sort of stuff. Some people find it to be just don't like the sensation of putting something through their nose. They just can't get over that hurdle of doing that. And so there's other options for those people too. But a lot of people use it and love it, and it works well for them.
When it's really bad out there, or say you're going to mow the lawn and maybe you have an issue with what kicks up there, how much help is one of those, surgical masks going to be?
A good tight mask is helpful. It does help remove a lot of the irritants, especially. A lot of the dust particles that you see are big enough to be filtered out by those masks, and so it'll help keep those out of the nose and reduce the irritation in the airway. People who have allergies are excessively sensitive to those irritants as well, so whether it filters out the ragweed pollen or whether it's just filtering out the dust that would be an irritant, either way it's going to be helpul for reducing symptoms if you're in a high exposure situation,
if you're going like mowing or something. All right, let's take a call from Mark. Good morning, Mark.
How you doing?
Hey, Mark, what you got, my friend?
I got a question. Why is Nashville and Knoxville and Chattanooga the worst place to be people with allergy and asthma?
Yeah, good question. I mean, first of all, do you think that's true? I mean, I know I get different impact when I go to Knoxville than the pollen here. That really seems to blast me, especially the Smoky Mountains, dogwoods everywhere, more of an impact. I get worse allergies in the Knoxville area than here, and I think it's better for me in the Memphis area.
Knoxville and Nashville and other areas in the Mid-South are consistently ranked as some of the worst allergy cities in the country. And it's because of the duration and the intensity of the pollen seasons that we have here, particularly in the springtime. The tree pollen, we just have so many deciduous trees, pollinating trees here, and the season is very long because we have this sort of temperate climate. And so we have a very high level that lasts a very long time, and so that really affects people more than it affects people in other areas that are further north where the seasons are shorter, or further south where the different types of trees exist. So we're sort of in that perfect, if you will, sort of zone for having really bad allergies.
It's a love-hate relationship for me, because in the spring you see these beautiful Bradford pears, and they're just poof, and they're just gorgeous, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I love looking at that, but that's going to hit me in the face.
It's the time you want to be outside the most, because it's so beautiful and the weather's perfect. It's the most beautiful season in Middle Tennessee, and then you step outside and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going back in.
It nails you. It nails you. All right, so let's get to, and the number's up if you want to ask a question about it, 737-7587. We touched on some of the home remedies, what you can do when you go to the store. You can also buy your Benadryls and all of that. When someone decides to come to you, is it that they're at the point where it's a threshold that it's just insufferable for them, or you see all types of patients maybe saying, yeah, I'm just tired of this drippy nose? And then how do you deal with them?
There's a bunch of reasons that people come to the allergist. Some people are not having success with medications. They've tried the over-the-counter stuff, they've tried prescription medications from their regular doctor, and it's just not working for them. Some folks are having complications they're having sinusitis.
Because you're a specialist.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
a doctor would, a general practitioner would refer someone to you.
Precisely. And so they're having sinusitis, they're having asthma, and some folks just don't want to be on medications. They're working okay, but they'd prefer to really treat the problem as opposed to being tied down to these medications for years and years and years. And so the first thing we do with most folks when they come to see us is do some allergy testing, find out what they're allergic to or if they're allergic. And that allows us then to tailor therapy specifically for the individual patient. It allows us to recommend avoidance measures. It allows us to time medications. And if people are interested in treating the underlying allergy, it allows us to think about allergy shots.
All right. So, and the process to determine, I have talked to people who have been through it, to determine what you're allergic to.
Skin testing for most folks.
Yeah, is that on the arm? I guess someone showed me once all these skin pricks, right? And with different substances, and then you have to observe them over a, 24, 48-hour period?
15 minutes.
Oh, 15 minutes?
Yes, for the
that quick?
For the immediate reaction.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I guess you're right. Most people are going to have a reaction.
The testing process takes about 30 or 40 minutes, and most of that is it looks sort of like a little plastic toothpick, and it sits in a well that contains the allergen, and we scratch the stuff on the arm or on the back sometimes.
On the back, okay.
And see if it makes a reaction. If it does, it looks like a little tiny hive. Lasts about 15 minutes or so.
Okay, so, and you'll have different levels or degrees. I mean, if someone's really, I mean, you may see a big welt.
Sure, you can see based on the size of the reaction, you can sort of say, well, that's your worst allergen over here. This is a little less, and so it tells you sort of what the worst allergen is and what some of the lower level allergies are.
But it's a little bit of detective work, right? Isn't it? I mean, as you do this, because first of all, let's think. We've been talking a lot about pollen allergies, and I guess there's molds that can make people sick as well. But, I mean, truly, someone can be allergic to anything. There's people who are allergic to sunshine. Okay, so when you start, I guess you have a pool of items that are most common, and you run through those. And if they all come back negative, then you keep going more and more obscure?
Well, those, for people who are having, classic hay fever symptoms, sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes, this sort of stuff, the aeroallergen, the inhalant allergen panel that we use is fairly comprehensive.
Okay.
So once that's negative, the chance that there's sort of something floating around in the air that's really causing the problem from an allergy perspective is pretty low. Now,
pretty low, yeah.
Allergy is thrown around loosely, I think, sort of in the community. To an allergist, it means a very specific thing, a very specific sort of immune reaction, and that's what we're testing for, and that's what we can treat. People can have other problems that give them similar symptoms. So, if you walk into one of those, those stores like this, I call them smelly stores, the ones where they got the potpourri, and all of a sudden you're like running and you're sneezing and everything. That's an irritant reaction, not really an allergy reaction. So it gives you a similar symptom complex, but via a different mechanism. And so once we've ruled out allergies with the allergy testing, then we're going down a different road. We're treating people for different problems, or we're looking for a different underlying issue that's causing them their symptoms.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the medicines and specifically kind of how they work, how it blocks it. Because essentially, your body, when you have an allergy, is reacting to a foreign substance that it just doesn't want there, that it thinks could be harmful.
Precisely.
Okay, so we'll take a break. We can take more calls, 737-7587. It's Dr. John Overholt. He's an allergist. Question about something you're dealing with? Join us. We'll be back with more right after this.